hot, but also not so bright. Check out Pissed Off Bartender's latest short. For some reason, YouTube will not allow me to share shorts without just copy and pasting a link. And it don't look right on the community page. So check out Pissed Off Bartender. But I couldn't agree more with his latest short that just came out. And topics of today, if I recall and don't have like a moment and start repeating myself like a skipping Walkman track. Sorry, my headphones decided to take a crap on me, so we're kind of at the mercy of the wind in the vehicles today. But either way, it be the early morning time, so I figured we could have us a fun walk and talk part. What I plan on covering, if I don't start repeating myself too much, is basically, as always, community building with each other, working together. For the record, when you see the bright lights, that's just people driving. People drive as if they need to be the center of it. We don't see it as being greedy or selfish. Just, the usual ranty stuff I talk about. It's been a long, rough week for us, but we're still alive and we're still doing all right. Most of the roughness just comes from, work shit. It's the time of the year when the restaurant is the busiest, but the tips are the lowest. And yeah, we'll be aggressive sometimes, but most of the time, if you give them a hot cup of soup, people perk right up and be happy in the cold. Yeah, it's real bad when it gets hot, y'all. Front of house gets to snapping at each other. Back of house gets real quiet, but it's like, we get shit done. I'm not looking forward to today, if you can't tell. It'll be a long 9 hours, but we'll get through. It's just Sundays are always some of the worst for me. But now we just walking in. If you're curious, I'm in Harley, Georgia. Nothing's open yet because it's too early. X-Trek. How's it going? What's up? What's up? I'm heading to work. No, you cannot know where I work at. That's why I'm trying to keep the stupid logo covered up. I am a fry cook, a prep person, a dish pit person. I basically work in the kitchen, y'all. But as a deal that I made with my bosses to make sure my boss's boss never finds out I exist, I'm just not going to let y'all know where I work at definitively. If y'all guess, well, then congratulations. But, aw, how's it going, Yada? Thank you. I got it at the local Ingles. And then I put a little banner on it, or a little band on it with, okay, that's what I've heard rattling. One of my beads came loose a little bit. It helps protect me from the sun, but as there's no sun yet, it's just stylish. I figured we'd watch the sunrise as it happens. It's not there yet. One second. I don't know why YouTube never wants to play nice. We're not quite at sunrise yet, but you can see it just starting to break the dawn. Huh. That's strange. Kelta 801, I'm heading to work. Oh, yes, X-Track got it. I'm heading to work. When you cook the breakfast, you got to be in there before the folks get their breakfast. And on Sunday, it's going to be a hard get and grit day. I do prep work, but I also work the line and occasionally push the food out because we are severely understaffed because even though... Oh, and I have a test today, too. One second. Okay. Sometimes I got a jackknife and whatnot to avoid traffic. Last 5 minutes when I cut the stream because I'm on the main street with all the restaurants. And again, I don't want y'all to know where I work at, nothing personal. But that's where I cut the stream and that's where I get a sidewalk at. Up until that point, it's going to be mostly fun grassland. I walk to work every day. I walk in, work about 9 to 12 hours, depending on how long the team needs me. And then typically walk home with bags and bags of eggshells, chicken tendon, both deep fried for my pets, as well as raw if it's in a paper container for the local wildlife. And I do a little bit of guerrilla green gardening while I go. I'm steadily working to try to wear a trail in, but After almost a year of this, I still ain't quite got a trail worked in yet. It's hard to put a trail in with the non-native grasses because whereas native grasses create fissures for wildlife to cut through, like what you can't really see in that field, watch yesterday's stream for that to see it in the daylight. But they normally have natural fissures they can run through, and these, as you walk, will just be made into a trail that you can follow. Well, because the non-native English whipgrass that we got here, I named it that. I don't quite know what its name. It's got the fat, almost grape-like seed pods, and it will cut the crap out your legs, which is why I got my stylish long socks on now. It's almost like the city take you to one place and then leave you there. Oh, and you need to make a reservation a week in advance. So if you're trying to do it like I do for work, it'd be like, hey, I need to go in these 4 days, and I need it in advance, and then it'd be like $4. But I'd have to pay each dollar in cash when they arrive. Because again, I don't know why services do that, but they have weirdly like specific rules. Like I can't pay $4 or $5 on a card and do it in advance. I got to pay in cash. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about then. X-Attack says that they cut their thumb on the type of grass I know about, and yeah, it's bad. The native grasses, they don't hurt you like that. They love you. They also will put seed pods on you, but you know, I'd rather deal with wild wheat and barley any day to this. Okay, y'all, this ain't really a review channel like that, but the other day, in hopes of improving my overall health as I do these walks, I purchased some flavor packets for my water. And as such, I'll let you know. I know that, I about walked right into a sign. I know there's a little farm on that side. It sounds like something's hurt, but if it's on their farm, that's theirs. I can't trespass. But cherry limeade water flavoring ain't bad. Like I said, in the weather like we have, it's very important to stay hydrated. If it's within 200 feet of the road, do us a favor. That was a deep hole. Try to find a native prairie flower or other native wildflower to your area. Because the other thing that a lot of people have been talking about in the more nature crunchy areas are, well, why are we seeing so much die-off? Well, y'all, at least knowing Georgia as I know it, what little I do know about her, through this area in the daylight, and we're taking away their food, we're taking away their homes. What do you expect to happen? I mean, a deer isn't going to go buy a local Ford and drive to do a job. Much as that anthropomorphic Beastars world would be kind of neat to see. City parks keep lit up like the 4th of July 24 hours. And the thing about artificial light is a lot of your big, like, you know, keystone species, like your deer and your larger ones, if you happen to have any like bears or wolves. And the other thing, out of the road, or if I happen to have some fancy folk money, some folding money, I'll just buy a bag of gardening mix. And then I'll take a paper box. You can take an Amazon box, you can take a shoe box. But personally, I think what's best is to use like the egg cartons kind of thing, not styrofoam, but the paper inner, the paper inlining between like the 150 and 25 pack egg things, blah, 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 egg cartons. Take those, put you a little bit of soil in them, and then plant you a seed in each one of those little packets. Then load it into your pack. In my case, I have this big green one that's lined, and when the sun comes up, I'll show it to you. But you put it in your pack, and you just find you a place. If you're in an urban area, by that I mean more cities and streets and blocks, then like me out here in the back country. But if you got a more urban setting, what you'll do is you'll take your box or your bomb, not an actual explosive device. I need to make that absolutely crystal clear. And you'll find yourself like a tree park, a public area, again, 200 feet away from the road, because exhaust fumes, as well as the rubber off of tires, will poison the road. Those are poison potatoes. It ain't worth eating. It gets into them. It's the same reason you'll rarely see like wildflowers bloom unless the city puts real effort into putting wildflowers along the road. I don't know if we got out of sight-esque, and ideally put it somewhere where there's dirt underneath it, because now comes the tending part of it. You're going to want to put it like a path you take every other day or once a week kind of thing, and every time you go by it, just take, I don't know why I keep trying to show the bottle to the camera, but take your water bottle full of sugar water and just gently coat your seed bomb with that sugar water. And as time, food stamps across the board. They're cutting Medicaid to a bunch of vulnerable people. And I don't know if y'all have noticed, but the price of eggs ain't gone down at all. The price of nothing's gone down, really. So, my humble suggestion is do what we can do. Now, I've checked in my local area, and a community garden is real difficult to get going because you got a whole bunch of paperwork and you got to pay for it. Whereas, taking you a box of tomato plants, taking you a box of wild grown lettuce, taking you a box of whatever, and letting it grow up in an area that would otherwise be overlooked for a prolonged period of time, that's just, you know, they can get upset with you. But I would offer up that is a worthy risk to take. Because the other thing about it is, yes, things have a proper grow season. You're not going to get a very big return or yield on any of your crops through the winter, for example. But if you still plant them, still try, you will get little wild cherry tomatoes and the like, blooming out of season, blooming when it needs to bloom because of when you planted it. The other thing we need to remember are the rules or laws of ecology, and that is nothing you put out in nature is wasted. Now, that being said, don't poison our mother by throwing out plastic and shit like that. I beg of you, if you're gonna do a more what I would consider a bomb seed bomb by like loading up a bottle with a shit ton of various wild seeds from your area and then chucking it out your vehicle window on the side, yeah, by that means I would say use a glass bottle, because while I don't like the idea of broken glass, it will break apart, break down into sand quickly. Whereas if you use a plastic bottle, if it distributes your seeds correctly, the plastic bottle will still be there until someone eventually picks it up. It's why quickly, as I'm cutting up the chicken, removing the tendons and the meat parts that nobody finds appetizing, I'll put them in one of our paper serving cups. And once I've filled the cup about halfway, I take some of the blood byproduct that's in the bag that the chicken comes in, and I pour in the freezer. If it's my first few cups of the day, I'll take a little bit of water and just sort of spritz the outside of the bag as we go through the day, so the bag gets a nice coating of ice on the outside. And of course, all the chicken byproduct parts inside of it are freezing up. Then, when I get off work after roughly 9 to 12 hours, I'll take my frozen bag, and as I walk through one of the local parks that has a river that feeds into the main river that feeds into the wall that feeds into the main, I'll basically take this frozen paper bag full of chicken parts, again, parts that fish and whatnot will eat, and I chuck it into the water. And I watched yesterday just to make sure my deployment method would work, and I think I found the workaround to that. But basically, bag hits water, bag breaks apart, it decomposes naturally along the water side, chicken parts get eaten by fish, veggie parts get eaten by turtles and the various animals that want it, and everything else floats to the riverside 200 feet away from the road to grow natural where it can. The things you need to be conscientious of while doing this are to be careful not to poison your local environment. I would not throw, like, for example, onions. Or I have thrown bacon in the river a couple times, like the bacon bits left over after we've made it. But I wouldn't like throw a hunk of bacon grease in. Because while, yeah, a lot of animals will eat it, it'll also hurt a lot of animals, you know? And the goal here is not to hurt the environment at all. It's to boost it up. It's to give it a bit of a, I don't know, like pouring Miracle-Gro onto it, you know? By the way, I would not suggest pouring Miracle-Gro as you walk, because the more aggressive plants take it, and you'll end up having kudzu and poison oak and all that back a lot, because it'll get real aggressive. But, you know, you learn. I don't work in a lab. I work with my hands out here in the field, because sadly, my country decided to put a paywall on education. So, and then gets bitchy when everybody's ignorant. That's what frustrates you. You can't cause a problem and then be upset about the people who have the problem. Sort of like how so many people hate the homeless on their streets and get real upset with people shitting in the streets. But you're not going to work to make social safety nets a thing to where you don't have that. You're just going to bitch at the byproduct of our hubris. Hubris being ignorance at what we can and can't achieve and what we deserve and don't deserve. Sometimes I use big words. If I talk over your head, I'm very sorry. I'm not intending to. Please say, hey, can you elaborate on blank? Because I will. My goal here isn't to divide or upset people. It's to build a community. That's why you get the real me. I would love to go back and edit some of these videos. There's at least 2 that I'm almost positive I was suffering from heat exhaustion and possibly having a heat stroke in. Just because of the amount of repetitivity. Because I'll repeat myself a lot. This is going to be about a 2-hour stream as I walk into work. So yeah, I'll repeat myself for those who are new in the chat. But I also shouldn't be, and then you load your seed bomb up like this. And then you load your seed bomb up like this. If I start to sound like a Walkman that you hit a rock with your CD in it, yeah, I messed up. My brain's on a loop and I need to fix it. For that, the defense I have is, y'all, it's dark out here and I'm trying not to fall down or get hurt. And while I would not want light pollution, I would certainly love to have a demarcated trail or some sort of a pathway, if you will, that I could safely traverse that isn't walking on the road like a post-apocalyptic character, trying my best not to get hit by folks that are either like myself, going into work, or like something I haven't experienced since I was young, coming home from a party. Oh, also something else that's very illegal, but I would highly suggest doing that could be fun. Make friends with your local ravens and crows, folks. If they see that's the one animal I will say. If you see a raven or a crow, make a distinctive noise that they can recognize. Get them to look at you, and then give them a food item that they find prized. They especially like dates and nuts that are like something they couldn't easily find themselves in the wild. They also go gaga for like rib bones, things like that still have some meat on them. Make sure you give them a little something, you know? And you'll start to notice, much like with mynah birds, ravens and crows will start to recognize your face and will start to recognize you. And if you feed them on the regular, well, my friends just brought me a really neat pendant. I found it basically on my walk. But I was walking and I hear thump right behind me. Look up and I see a bird flying overhead. Look down and I'll show it to you. It's in my bag. But I look down and a Stitch pendant. Now, do I think that the raven knew that I like Boba Tea and Stitch and so found this really neat Disney piece of thing? No. I think it was a bird that saw something shiny, then saw the dude that constantly feeds it and decided, hey, humans like shiny things. So it dropped it where I could grab it. Then again, maybe it was just a bird that thought it was food and then realized it wasn't food. I try to go with the most logical to the least logical, not. I try to understand the world around me, best I can at least. I don't know which way the camera's facing, so I'm gonna. There we go. Pan it towards the sky, because we're just starting to get the break of day, and for the sake of letting y'all experience it, I can smell the sweet suckling of rot and decay from the roadkill in the far ditch. I can smell the much sweeter, much more savory scent of honeysuckle. And somewhere in the distance, someone is burning some kind of wood. Can't be sure what, but I know it's not the acrid smell of burnt plastic, so that's a plus. As I walk, the grass sweeping my ankles, getting blinded randomly by the assholes with their brights on. It's a lovely morning here in Georgia. The heat's starting to amp up, going from a semi-comfortable 73 to now it's becoming kind of uncomfortable 80. But without the sun up to cook us right now, it's just like an unpleasant warmth, like wearing a sweater indoors in the summer. Just doing anything for y'all. I'm trying my best to entertain as best I can as a host, because I'm still learning. And, I'm not perfect, y'all. Nobody is. I just want to entertain and educate where I can. And to hopefully give y'all hope to know that you don't need the fancy education. It would just help a whole lot. But not to brag, I'm a millennial who's only negative 500 in debt. Dodging that car. I'm a millennial that's negative 500 in debt. Most of my friends, both younger and older than me, are in the thousands. 2 of my friends have already declared bankruptcy. So it's like, not winning, but surviving definitely. And how do I do it? Well, the best I can. Tips I can give you is stuff like, look back at our ancestors and start to see how they did it, minus the racism. And really, I think the best way I could describe it would be check out what is called solar punk right now. Not steampunk, solar punk. Not to insult my steampunk community, because I do love those crafty folks as well. But solar punk goes in a different direction. Steampunk seems to embrace and hold up the old, antique, and antiquated system and make it work again. What if instead of electricity, powered by these fossil fuels that are killing us, we had instead went with steam? In the case of, for example, Dishonored, they would use whale oil as the burning implement to create the water boiling to create the steam. But again, what if we went with a more natural cycle of options? And that's nice, but we don't live in that time period in any way, shape, or form. And we could achieve solar punk. The reason I prefer the punk label above all others, I was a goth in high school back when that was a major thing. And I gotta say, much as I loved the goth culture, it did have a certain undertone of racism to it. And I mean, when you look at it being based on vampirism and vampires primarily, as well as the very chic, ritzy, dead aesthetic, yeah, unless you went with like a witchy goth or an undead style of goth, you kind of didn't realize it, but they threaded racism through it like you'd thread a poison through oh, hell, let's make a reference. Like you would thread a poison mushroom through what was it, beef Wellington. I still can't believe somebody that stupid did something like that. Y'all, not that you should commit crimes. Never ever commit crimes. Crimes are bad, okay? But if you're gonna murder someone, don't poison them at a dinner you invited them to like you're a character in Clue. Because, yeah, y'all, was anyone surprised when the mushroom poisoner was fully convicted on trial? Now, I mean, we live in a modern world, y'all. That she Googled where death caps grew at, then used Google Maps to go to that location, plucked the poison mushrooms, made a beef Wellington, something that as a chef over 10 years, well, cook over 10 years, I still wouldn't try to do a beef Wellington because it's so, well, one, it's not really in my price range. I'd do a meat pie first, something for the working class. Beef Wellington feels a lot more like for those, you know, upperclassmen. But it's a very complicated dish. You basically have to cook something 3 times without burning it, and each time factoring in that the underlayers will have to continue cooking, so you don't want it cooked all the way any time until you finally pull it out, otherwise it'll be dry. But you also don't want it to be, you know, you don't want to serve raw meat. So again, I don't understand why you would murder someone like that when there are hundreds of thousands of easier ways. Christ, look at Murder, She Wrote and pick any of those episodes. You'd have a better chance than picking death caps and putting them in your friend's food. Lord, people. But either way, they threaded it in with the goth subculture. Yeah, I can come back to it. That's why I'm crazy, but not and functional as a crazy person. And whereas goth basically allowed fascism in just a teeny bit. Problem with fascism is like anthrax, all it takes is a little bit to ruin an entire movement. Whereas the punk movement, as messy as they are, I'm not going to pretend like we are not a messy group, at least they will always kick fascists and totalitarians out post-fucking sweet. The second they show their ugly head, they're booted from the group. No fuss, no muss, no division politics, just, oh, that's kind of a fashy point. You standing on that? Well, yeah, I feel that way. Okay, bye, bitch. That's what I love about punk. I like steampunk, but again, I find that unintentionally, it's embracing some of the outdated ideas. Whereas solar punk embraces, you know, that I put through a tea filter, through a cheesecloth. Which one would you rather have? If I have to drink one of the 2 sewer waters, yeah, I get a little vulgar. Sorry about that. We are heading up on the 32-minute mark. If you sync up with anything I've been saying, please hit the like and subscribe. There's more. Over 600 videos of more. And yeah, they're kind of dirty. They're kind of gritty. I bring y'all the real me. But that being said, I also, again, want to try to do my best to educate and help as best I can. And in the case of solar punk, it's a movement forward rather than a look back. It's what if instead of, oh, we're about to hit the edge where we'll see the stupid little doll houses, but what if instead of these sad little plantation style 1984 box houses, what if we area trees that are native to the area growing out of boxes that are around it, you know? Trim it like a bonsai so it stays fairly small. And again, oh, but how could we do that? We employ using taxpayer money that we tax from billionaires, as well as just the money that we have in back storage that's going to pay to make congressmen outrageously wealthy. We take that money and we start hiring city workers. I mean, if you want to be assholes about it, you can pay them the same as minimum wage still. But we hire them and we give them an infinite amount of time to work on things, you know? And actually, if that bucket's intact, we might recycle. I can't quite tell. It looks like it's a solid. I think we just found us a slop bucket, folks. It ain't got a handle. That's depressing. We'll have to fix that. But hell yeah, we got us a slop bucket. Now I can really save some eggshells and such and spread them out. Because again, y'all, because they play stupid so well that most people just take their maliciousness as ignorance. Like one of my coworkers who vehemently thinks Trump is doing a great job. But she's best friends with all the gays. Yeah, she's dreaming of the day she puts y'all in camps. It's y'all, just because they say something nice to you, but want to kill your brother, you need to fight for your brother. And I'm also wanting to make sure this wasn't used as a crack bucket or nothing. Oh, it's cracked, shite. Well, plan B, I take it to work and I use it to make dirt out of in the back of work. Because again, I different things that will just turn into good, nutritious soil. but our company tells us to just throw them away. And again, I'm not saying take it home and hoard it. That's not at all what I'm saying. Please don't do that. It is very unsanitary to do that. What you need to do is take it and spread the love. And again, I don't mean like be a public nuisance, but vacant lots are the best place to pick. Walk by it every day, and if you never see activity there and no signs of construction starting anytime soon, maybe start dumping your leaf debris there. Start taking your clippings from whatever you cook and just tossing them in the corners where there's a bit of dirt. Or bring in a bit of dirt here and there and mix it up good, you know? Like I said, it's about getting food to grow everywhere we can, because as the fascists slowly take over our country, a little faster than I'm comfortable with in this country, it's going to get harder and harder to get the simple things. Food, clean water. Take it from someone in Georgia. Currently Floyd, as well as Athens, I believe, is under a boil advisory because of broken water mains and broken water lines. Plus, out here in Bartow, they had a thing earlier, about a year ago, through Cartersville, that was basically, hey, homeowners, fill out this form, and the city will replace all the lead linings of your pipes all the way up to your main. If you fill out this special form, they'll come by and they'll go ahead and do one step further and cover you to the house. And if you're a landlord, because let's be honest, most people don't own their land, they rent their land. But if your landlord took their option, you no longer have lead pipes leading to your house. If your landlord did not take their option, well then there's shiny metal lines out in the ground and your lines have lead in them. What do you think lead does to a person's body, chat? It makes it harder to think. The heavy metals start to poison our system. We lose cognition. And with the loss of cognition, well, that immediately comes with heightened aggression. Because for some reason, those two tend to go hand in hand. Once you lose cognition, you start to lose empathy and sympathy. Once you lose empathy and sympathy, you start to just see the world as a victim or as prey. And that's not good for anybody. Okay, I think it's gone up substantially in temperature now because I am now sweating profusely. Yet I do not feel much hotter yet, chat. Now, normally I would find this as a sign of alarm, being that I'm at least 2 miles from any form of civilization that would actually be helpful to if something happens. That being said, I've experienced this before. As long as I can maintain a true sentence structure and I don't start to swagger or start to skip, like said example there, I should be okay. Like I said, when you live out in the country and you got to work in the city because you got to make money, you do what you got to do. Also, if it weren't for the city, I would say to come through here for berry bushes. Now I would say if you come through here where the Stiles is, climb the hill and check the other side. Early morning, you might be able to find some delicious blackberries. Do not on the roadside, as if you do, it will be poisonous. Even if it is a good to eat plant, it will be poisonous. I don't say that in a figurative, it'll hurt your soul, chat. I say that in a literal, you will get sick. It has gas in it. Not the good. Okay. Mostly because this thing is slightly cracked, but I still want it. But I know it's going to be another 3 miles probably, a little more, a little less till I get to work. I think I'm going to take a quick, especially if traffic don't kick up too bad, a quick break at the electrical lines here. I'll probably whistle or sing something to y'all while I go off screen for a little bit and stash my soon-to-be gathering bucket. Like I said, y'all, it's that easy. Just when you see something that can be put to use, put it to use, but don't hoard. If you have had it for over a year and have yet to find a use for it, well, friend, you're not using it, and you need to find either someone that wants it or try to break it all the way down to its smallest form and send it out the door. Now, I personally, and it's a little obsessive, so I wouldn't expect anyone to do it, but I tend to cut up our garbage. if it's a paper or a box product that I'm not using for the art project, I put it in a very large plastic bin, and eventually that will go out to be in the dirt to break down and help feed the soil. If it is a hard-lined plastic, if I get the chance, and I haven't lately because, you know, working every day on something, I'll take and I'll cut it into small little sections, because you got to remember, yes, there are now bacteria out there that will eat plastic, which is awesome. Don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking it. That's a sign of hope. Nature has figured out how to eat what we have made, and now there's a chance the earth might start to heal. The reason we have a garbage island is because we're horribly wasteful people. But y'all remember, the Florida Keys was made because a bunch of native people ate seashells and seafood, and they didn't crush the seashells up into a fine powder. They just threw the shells in the bay. The bay, over time, gathered those shells and formed inlets and islands. And then eventually colonizers came in and tore it all down, and they wonder why it floods all the time. But the original Florida Keys was made up, you know, cut across the road, real sea animal shells. And that wasn't a bad thing because the people utilized it. I'm gonna stick this here. I'm gonna use this here branch that I put here. Why isn't the phone wanting to play nice? There we go. Be right back. Ow, wet, wet. A bit of the hand sanitizer. Oh, I did not have y'all at a good angle. Sorry about that. Oh, I got nobody. I feel that. I don't blame you. I left you sitting on a box staring at a pole like you were in timeout. Chat, you did nothing wrong. It wasn't your fault. There's just no, demarcated bathroom area or safe place to go outside of cutting off the road. Always carry hand sanitizer with you, chat. Always carry hand sanitizer. But yeah, y'all. Sorry about that mild break. Welcome back if you're back with us. Sorry about that break. And I will hopefully not have to do that again. Typically it happens once per 4-mile jaunt. And that's it. We'll check back on that sunrise here in a minute. How y'all doing? Let me scroll up a little. Y'all almost saw our logo. Ruh-roh. But yeah, it's a beautiful morning. Moon's out. Sun's rising. We're making our walk. Let me flip the camera one more. Oh, fun fact. Not that particular way, because that's a different route. You can see the sunflowers, though, and they're lovely. I've said it before. And they produce delicious, delicious seeds. They're also that was a bat. Hell yeah. But they also can, friends. Even if they're slightly invasive, they'll feed you and they'll feed others. And that's the biggest thing about the green guerrilla movement. If you live in a city where you can't get 200 feet off the road, that's fine. You can still plant pollinator type plants like native flowers. And the more greenery you put in an area, the cooler it becomes. Not just literally in, that's cool, dude, but also like in temperatures. And I don't know about y'all, but 5 or 10 degrees is very noticeable. I would say if I could talk to that person living there, they would probably tell me that it's easier to run during the summer without the air conditioner being cranked to max. And also, it shades you, so during the winter you might have to use a little more heat. but I would also think those branches would help insulate. So, and you got a constant source of where you can burn for fire. Though I don't know, technically I do believe in the most extreme sense of conservation, we should try not to burn anything anymore if we can help it. But I mean, in a world of everyone has a car and they're driving 100 miles to, stare at a wall or a screen that they could do from their house, who am I to beseech you your campfire, I don't think I use that what typical water would be. Or perhaps I'm just feeling it after a long week. I will say, folks, this is not a life for the faint of heart. Because every day I do this and I beg people to walk with me, talk with me, hang out, exercise more, get in touch with the inner animal. It's the more I get rebuffed, the more I get look love, not war, brother. But I ain't down for it, and I'd assume other people wouldn't be down for it. So it's like, I just think walk more, build your. Oh, that's what I was gonna do. This afternoon stream, y'all. I got my change of clothes ready. When I get out of work around 3 o'clock-ish, don't hold me to it exactly, we are going to walk the one section of our river trail. The reason I don't do all of it, the river trail is roughly a 10-mile long trail. And no, sorry, y'all, I'm already going to be walking 8 miles today just in going to work and going home. So I'm going to add about maybe a mile to it. But I'm going to take y'all on a walk at least through the shady forested portion where I have been throwing food for the past few months. And I've noticed an uptick in animals in that area especially. And at first, yes, it was just, I might be messing up here, because it was mostly like little field mice, rabbits. But y'all, it's like that old baseball movie that we can all reference, but almost nobody's seen anymore that's in my audience. But The Field of Dreams. If you plant it, they will come. If you put food in wild areas for the wild animals and native species for pollinators, the animals will return. And even cooler about it, not to get a big head or to give anyone else a big head, because all we're doing is proper conservation, but you also get to sort of be a hero of sorts that no one will ever know. Like the Men in Black from Jay from Men in Black. Or like some other sort of eco-soldier. We serve the green with no name and no fame. But if we succeed, humanity gets to march forward. And if we fail, well, then I'm sure the consumers will fish the last of the land until it's dead. But that's what I'm begging y'all to be, is to break from the norm and don't be consumers, but use what they give you. Utilize what we have and the skills we have to truly make a difference. Because, again, do you really need such a jacked up, stupid vehicle that's costing you tons in insurance and gas and fun? Or would you rather have something small and zippy? Do you need, again, don't dox people, don't pick on people. They might need all those vehicles because they might have 15 people living in their house. But do you need 8 vehicles? Does anybody really need more than one? That's the thing about it. I'm not saying downsize to be demure. I'm not saying downsize because it's something that you need. I'm saying because it's like the Fight Club mentality. And yeah, I know white dude reference in Fight Club, but the objects you own end up owning you. And don't do that. McDonald's shit is very waxy and made to stay around forever. In fact, if that homeowner doesn't pick that up, we'll just continue taking pictures of it every day as we do our walk and talks until either A, it gets dissolved into nature, or B, it gets picked up. I bet you it'll get picked up before it breaks down. But I'll show you where I've been putting a few egg cartons every once in a while, about once every 3 months, with a variety of eggshells and leaf cuttings in it. And we'll see if we can find any eggshell carton remains. Honestly, with the work that the animals in that park do now, I doubt we'll even find any eggshell remains. But I typically put them behind the dumpsters to start with so it can take one round of sunlight to just burn everything off. Because I can tell you, as someone that used to take a smoke break behind those dumpsters every time I'd have a break at work, yeah, it gets hot back there. Now, let's be clear, folks. If your working environment is over 90 degrees, that is not a working environment. Your boss is trying to kill you, whether they know it or not. Oh. Another small thing you can do that is helpful, just to help out your Mother Earth, I try as much as I can to reuse and repurpose everything. Bought a Powerade a day ago. I'm still using, well, about 2 days ago, I'm still using the bottle for drinks. I typically use and reuse bottles because with how many animals around my house, it's just better than cups. Plus the amount of stuff that I drink that would be poisonous to my animals just because of the caffeine amount or something else of that nature in it. Yeah, there's a reason that I try to keep my stuff in bottles. Like I said, y'all, it's baby steps. The journey of 1,000 miles, 1,000 leagues starts with the first step. And then either the stubbornness, the pride, or the raw, pure spite to keep going no matter what. Because, yeah, y'all, oh, there's someone here. Hello, person. I'm not used to having a living audience. Normally, my audience is in the future. If you wouldn't mind, drop a like. Oh, they're gone already. If you wouldn't mind, if you're here in the future, please drop a like. Maybe subscribe if you think what I do is cool shit. Once I get to 100 subscribers, I'll set up a Patreon, a Ko-Fi. I'll do a hair reel video to let y'all see what my hair actually looks like. Although, if you stick around till the winter time, you'll probably see it, because then I'll either be wearing my brimmer or something other than this bonnet. But either way, you know, it'd do me a solid if you'd sub, if you could. And when it comes to finally having a Patreon, I'll be able to say, brought to you by viewers like you. Thank you. And I can pretend to be PBS for a little while. And honestly, can we just shout out? Because honestly, in a world of History Channel aliens and super Nazi weapons, it's nice to have a channel that might be boring, but still sticks purely to what's factual, provable, testable, and all that. It's good to have that. Oh, somebody left something. Somebody left something covered in ants and chicken. Let's move that on over. Again, if I weren't, at one, if these people didn't make more in a day than I make in a week, and two, if, you know, I weren't 4 to 5 miles from the trash can, I would pick that up. One day, with your funding and help, I will be able to carry bags or carrying boxes with me to stow trash, and I'll start the cleanup efforts around these parts that I can do. Right now, I'm funded by grit and determination, so doing our best, folks, is what we got. If we see any six-packs or anything like that, we'll pick them up. Anything that can be carried in a pocket without making my pants nasty, we'll carry that. And that's all it is, y'all. It's not like I'm telling you to, you know, move heaven and earth, fight the power, make Captain Planet proud. No, it's just, you know, maybe don't make Gaia cry. Because let's talk about it. I'm trying to find a nice way to broach it. Because, again, I don't want to seem like I'm ripping jokes. One, because, yeah, I don't want to have death threats, all that nonsense. But also, it's not a joking matter, y'all. People are dead. It's not fucking funny. Yeah, Texas brought it on themselves a bit, but nobody should bring on an ecological disaster. Sorry, the word wasn't coming up right. It kept coming up as economic. And let's be clear, it will eventually be an economic disaster too, but who gives a shit about your wallet when your kid's missing, am I right? Well, let's secure what's important first, then we'll worry about the shit that, you know, will matter later. Because, yeah, those businesses that got flooded, they can't be used. Nothing that went underwater for more than, I would say, 20 minutes can be utilized, because you will have black mold in the walls, you will have mildew, And here's the thing about flood water, because when I was a kid, I didn't think about it much, and I'd always think, oh, fuck it, if it floods, I'll grab a floaty and I'll be fine. Yeah, but there's what's in the water. As soon as electrical grids start to go underwater, yes, for a while you'll be all right, because, water hits the electrical power box, the power box blows, that water's fine. The power's off. But once these lines start to go under, well, then around those lines is going to be deadly, because as soon as those lines cross, they'll create an electrical current that water will support. On top of that, sewage is only in the sewer below us because of the gravity and the fact that the sewage is running along those trenches, like the aquifers of Rome. Once a flood comes in, all of that comes up with it. So if you get a cut, if you have a minor cut or abrasion, and y'all, let's be real with it, if you're a working person, who doesn't have minor cuts and abrasions? If you're just a person that does sports, you got cuts and abrasions. Get ready for gangrene on a real level. So it's like, nobody should want these things, and these things can be prevented both with FEMA proper planning and stop letting people that aren't in your state own a bunch of shit in your state. Because the paperwork has come in, and again, if I can place blame at anyone other than the poor victims of this tragedy, yeah, it would be on the rich business execs that decided, hey, let's build a children's camp in a flood zone. And then it would also be on the politicians who said, let's not demarcate that this is very much a flood zone and it is very dangerous for y'all. If you're camping on the AT, if you're camping on the Intercontinental Trail, or you're camping on any camping trail, and you come across an area like this, where the land clearly dips, and you can tell that water will pool somewhere, I don't care if you're camping there for a night. You don't camp there. You don't build there, because the water will come. It is pure hubris to think that you'll be spared the fate of drowning. And my problem would be, I would love to make fun of this scenario. I love taking a tragedy and turning it into a comedy. It's what I've done with my entire life. But at the same time, it's like, it's a preventable tragedy, and these kids didn't choose to put their lives in danger. It's not like all these parents decided, oh, I'm going to send my kid to a skydiving camp. No, go and just have a fun summer excursion. Enjoy what little childhood they have in this cursed world. And they died for it. Because a politician decided, oh, fuck them kids, I need that $200,000 in my pocket so I can buy another car for my fucking fleet. So I can buy another house for another mistress or another kid if they're a Republican that they've decided to bang. Y'all, it's on its face outrageous, and you should be upset. Now, again, not a call to violence, but a call to be upset. Let them know you're upset about it. And maybe instead of making fun of some cartoonist who makes a ha-ha at the people's pain, let's focus wholly in on the fucking people that did it. I mean, hell, Trump keeps saying every time someone brings up the Epstein files, but Texas. Well, good point, Mr. President. Wouldn't the FEMA funding have helped out in Texas? And y'all, here comes the other punch coming in from the other side. Noah is gone now. Fuck the Bible, Noah. I mean actual, like the military's naval system that talks to us about hurricanes coming in, that tells us about bad storms getting ready to hit. Not universal, but a planetary alliance between all countries, because we have all, communist, capitalist, everyone's agreed you don't want to get hit blindsided by a hurricane. So through NORAD and NOAA, we all communicate about what the ocean's doing. Because of your fat dipshit fascist, we have removed ourselves from this program that is completely free. That all we have to do is aid in the monitoring, and we're involved. Nope, America's too good for that. So I'm letting you know now, when the next hurricane hits Florida, and we have 300, 400, 500 people dead and floating in those waters, you can thank your president. You can thank us not having NOAA to give us a heads up. Because y'all, I keep talking about Florida, but hell, Georgia's also getting hit by it. The AT has still not fully recovered, because while we're trying to rebuild after a lifetime event after a lifetime event, once in a lifetime event hits, as we're trying to rebuild, the funding from the state is steadily being cut. And do you think anyone that owns a house like that's going to give money to the state to help out us poors? Of course not, unless they can get it back at the end of the year in tax cuts. And at that point, they're not helping anything. They're just siphoning their money through the system, which is why capitalism is inevitably broken and we should become socialists. This is my pitch for socialism. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. But yeah, y'all, it's just simple. Everyone should make it. Maybe I'm a radical for that. I don't think everyone should have a house like that. I don't think everyone should have a house like that. But I think everyone should have a place that they can lay their head and know their stuff is safe and know that they're safe and they can sleep. I don't think everyone should have a pavement princess. But I think that everyone should have either a solar-powered, an electric-powered, or, yes, gas-powered, but highly efficient engine to get you back and forth since we built everything so far away from each other. But, y'all, my bosses thought it was radical when I was like, hey, y'all, all my jeans got destroyed by my dogs. Can't I just wear black pants? I've got more pants than just jeans. I've got khakis, I've got black pants, I've got dress pants, I got shorts, I got booty shorts. I wouldn't wear them to work because I work with hot grease, but nope, it has to be blue jeans and either blue jeans or blue jeans shorts. We have to present a unified front like we are a military. And it's like, but why? Half the time the customers don't even see me, which is what I kind of rely on for none of my dear viewers to notice where I work at. But it's like, most of the time I'm not outside the kitchen. And to be quite honest, if they don't fix our air conditioner soon, I'm going to be cooking your food in my underwear like I'm cooking meth, because, y'all, that kitchen gets to be about 100 degrees without an air conditioner running in it. It'll very much be like if you've seen Netflix's Chernobyl, where it'll just be, you'll go back in the back and all the cooks are in their underwear just, what do you want? I mean, I've seen adult people in other kitchens just full on collapse. But it's because people don't see air conditioning as a necessary. And of course, any restaurant, any business, from McDonald's to alligator fucking Gestapo, or not, I can never say the word I want to say for this one, so I go with Dachau, but between dipshit Dachau and fucking McDonald's, yeah, the offices and the overseers' offices will have air conditioning. They'll be warm in the winter, cold in the summer, and probably got a mini fridge in them. Now, for the inmates and the workers, you think they're going to waste energy and time and money on that? They don't even see us as people most of the time. Like I said, Walmart got caught years ago. Basically, you would fill out your paperwork, you would sign in, you would become a member, you'd be Walmart employee number 56732, and Walmart would go ahead and take out a life insurance policy on you. Now, granted, they are not giving that to your family or your widows when you go. They're taking that and giving it to the shareholders. That way, even in death, you can give those shareholders one last little hand up. Isn't that beautiful, y'all? Isn't that the American dream? And that right there might be an invasive species. I don't think it is, but my God, isn't it beautiful? There used to be 5 weeping willows in this state. I know because my mother loved them. That's the last one I know of. The one on Main Street got torn down around the time they redid the library. Nothing to do with the library, of course. That they did because willows, while you see them, they have about a human-sized base root. And like all trees, they hunt for water. But unlike most trees, which have an anchor root, the base root, and then they spread out with itty-bitty roots, a willow tree like that will spread deep and it'll pierce anything it can because it's got real thick roots, you know? Like I said, I don't know a lot. I don't know enough. And please, if you know something more than me, if you actually study ecology proper, or you know better than me, please share with the class. I'm not going to shoot you down. I might Google what you say, but I'm not going to shoot you down. I genuinely want this to be a place of discord where all but fascist beaches are welcome. I hate fascists, y'all. I will never break bread with them. If I break bread, I'd rather be breaking their nose. Fuck a fascist. But at the same time, if you're on the fence, We can talk. I'll talk to you happily. Because fascism is inevitably the end of capitalism. And capitalism is basically, it tells me you have a poisoned soul. I don't believe in souls, but your core, your main beliefs. If the main thing you care about is, yeah, but how much am I making off of it money-wise? Then I'm going to say you fucked up, friend. You shouldn't be worried about that. But that's just my opinion on it. I personally think that we need to work on, for example, for sale 58 acres, 2 properties, 1 house. I would love nothing more than for a group of people that could get along, maybe 5 or 10 people, to get this property, be able to purchase it outright and own it, and then open up a commune on it. Because 58 acres, that's enough for you to have animals that you could basically have for meat and for pleasure. That didn't sound right. For that, I mean for meat as well as for like making blankets, fucking milk, cheese, dairy items. If you've got dairy items and someone that knows how to bake, not me, then yeah, you can have cakes. That's what I meant by pleasure items. Don't be gross. I'm Georgia. I'm not going to do that. We're not going to do that here. We are going to be a safe place for everyone that we can be, and I will not give in to our state-sponsored lighthearted attacks at each other. I love Alabama and Mississippi. And honestly, I hate to be mean to Mississippi more than Alabama, but at least y'all have less of an education level than us. So I at least have a little brother to pick on sometimes. But hell, y'all also have, robust wetlands. And while I might laugh because y'all don't have UGA or tech, y'all do have like a very strong sense of nature around you. And I can talk to a basic person from Mississippi usually, and while I might get too much racism than I'd care for, I can also get a lot of knowledge about your local plant life, and y'all living because you got to live so close to the razor's edge. I respect people who have to live hard lives, and I'm willing to overlook some of their more eccentricities from it. Because here's the thing, y'all, if you have to live a hard, mean life, you're going to come out hard and mean. The reason Mr. Rogers was such a beautiful, sweet man was because he had a very soft, sweet life after a very harsh and hard one. That's why I'm for I would totally redo our prison system and jail system. Totally overhaul it. For one, we need to remove the for-profit nature completely out of it, because that's not what it needs to be about. Most people, and I hate to sound like one of these crunchy hippie people, but most people would be like a Steven Universe thing. It would be like hey, if we take you out of that very bad environment you're in, and we give you a little bit more education so you're not running on 2nd grade levels, and we help you to, know how to not only take care of yourself, but have a genuine feeling of compassion for those around you, then I guarantee you won't be a criminal anymore. But I'd also be willing to say most of our criminals are criminals by happenstance. Most of them are people that got caught in a bad situation, doing their best or otherwise, but they got there because of ignorance. And most of the time they got there because of ignorance that wouldn't have been their own if they hadn't run into the internet or something like that. Directly talking to the sovereign citizen movement here, folks. I'm not saying to, kiss the cop's ass, but at the same time, don't be outright hostile until the time to be hostile is there. I mean, I am very much ACAB until proven otherwise. But watching some of them sovereign citizens, man, I don't know no more sometimes. And I will say that most of the time it is the caucasity of them. Because a lot of the time with the sovereign citizen, if it gets all the way to a window break, I hate to be it, but 90% of the time, the sovereign citizen looks a whole lot more like me. I mean, minus the mustache and the fancy hat, the skin color. Most of the sovereign citizens that I see that get to a window break look like me, because I hate to be this way, but yeah, cops be racist. I mean, it's the reason I get hey, what you doing over there? Rather than slammed on the ground and handcuffed when they see me just walking around videotaping myself. Which I would like to, I used to use it as a point, but I guess now it don't count for shit because people will just videotape themselves doing crimes. Y'all, the crimes I do are very lightweight, and they are what I would call civil disobedience, because everyone deserves a free meal. No meal is free, let me be clear. As ecology points out, there's no free lunch. Things had to die for us to get that food. But that's the cost, not a financial one. I'm tired of capitalists taking real things and make it into their nonsense. Because here's the thing, y'all. Everybody deserves to eat. Now, I don't care if you get it from my table or if you find it in the field yourself. You deserve to eat. You deserve a roof. You deserve to be warm in the winter. And you deserve to not die of heat in the summer. Maybe not cool, but you deserve to not die of heat. There's a difference between sitting under a tree bitching because it's slightly warm and literally hunched over yourself, not knowing if you're going to make it home after a shift because the sun is just baking you. Because instead of a tree line like you used to have, you now have this lovely view. And if you walk on this side, you'll be all right for the most part. But the tree coverage is sparse at best. And on this side, especially heading home, you've got the real risk of being struck from behind. And I'm not, a part of me, I used to be very cynical and yeah, because the cowards ain't going to hit you to your face. They're going to run you over from behind. No, I don't think it's cowardice. I don't think it's psychopathy. I don't think they're trying to hit you. I think people are just stupid and they think that, oh, I know I shouldn't drive and talk on the phone. I know I shouldn't drive in YouTube or drive in Snapchat or drive and tweet, but you know, I'm better than them. I know what I'm doing. And so I'm going to go ahead and, oops, I got into an accident. Y'all, everybody that I know does it. I honestly think that our fucking cars, like a fucking drunk's car should, you should have to plug your phone in and it will allow you to talk to it. You can basically say, hey phone, play YouTube music. Next. But it won't let you call anyone. It won't let you tweet or text or it'll just let you play music. And that's because so many cars don't have functioning radios. And honestly, the radio's kind of garbage today, ain't it, folks? There's no rebel radio from the underground. It's all just, what synthetic pop would you like? What gangster rap would you like to tell you to hate your fellow people? Oh, you don't want either? How about something that sings the praises of drinking and fucking? Want to drink and fuck or waste your time? The radio's here, friend. Hell, used to, there'd be like Scratch and Sniff on Project X, where they combine stuff like heavy metal and hard rap to make almost Linkin Park. There used to be hard, cool bands like Linkin Park. And now it just feels like, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not atting nobody mean, but it's also like, why are Post Malone, Jelly Roll, and all these big figures so quiet on, you know, active genocides? Why, oh man, I'm not political, I'm just here for the people, man, I'm just here to play. Bitch, politics is the people. You can't say, oh man, I'm here for those that got locked up, but then sit there and go, and man, all the cops are your friends. They cool, man. You just gotta be cool with them. We're all people, man. Yeah, that's true, but some of them are just racist people that want to hurt black and Latino people, brother. And if you ain't talking about ICE like Gestapo and folks, or fucking an active genocide on 2 different countries for the record, it's like, who the fuck you playing for? Other racists? Not to call Jelly Roll out like that, because I don't know him like that. From what I've seen from his bass work, he is doing good work. But like with many artists, I just would ask, maybe do a little more. And I'd like to think it's not because of fear of being like, you know, in trouble with his major fan base. But it's like there used to be a prison content creator that I watched, JD something or other. And I liked him because he was mean and he was rough and he was tough and he's But he was also human. He would be rough and tumble, but he would also talk from the heart about real shit. And then he took that Trump pill and suddenly every video was about training people going to prison. It's going to be bad for them. And it's like, bro, what the fuck? That's not human. What base are you playing to? And then when other creators that watched him, like me, little people that like, well, actually littler people than me. Y'all can say whatever the fuck you want about me. I'm tough because I don't want to be here anymore. But people that do want to be here and was getting on here for like, you know, like really trying to find a reach out because their lives are shit. And he would be on there fucking roasting them and shit like that. Because, oh, well, this person's probably a pedo. And it's like, bro, you've got an audience. Be respectful. Be responsible. It's why I like follow up every single one of my little burn the rich down, eat the rich skits with a, hey, by the way, you know I'm just being playful, right? We need to re-educate people. We need to help let them understand and develop empathy and possibly sympathy by making them experience the life that their workers experience, but not actually, wood chipper them. The death penalty should be reserved for, the people on Epstein's list. Take that as you will. I think anyone that was on Jeffrey Epstein's list that has now vanished into the ether should be put to death. Because, and I hate to be this way, it's not the sayings that I would pick, but if my beloved dog Benjamin runs out of my house and bites a child, the state will kill Benjamin. If my neighbor walks out the house and hurts a child, the state will put him in prison for 3 months. Why is there such a big difference there? They're both scarring a child. They're both permanently changing their lives. Why is it my dog, who has far more of a chance of not reoffending, gets put down, but a person who would do that to a child, who will definitely reoffend after they've done it once, they get the benefit of the doubt again and again and again and again? Sorry, y'all. Get a little bit personal about that subject, but it's like, real talk, it's bullshit. But now the sun is starting to break the skyline, and we're about to enter into the second worst part of the walk. Again, this used to be the nicest part, because this would be where the temperature had dropped by about 4 degrees. Because back before they destroyed this area, this was thick woods leading over to that river over there. And if we could walk over there, I would, so y'all could see it, because it is a lovely river. Unfortunately, that's almost a direct drop into the river over there. You'd think they'd put a railing up, but I guess that's too expensive for our little city. We're too busy making sure our Congress people live in McMansions. I kind of feel like a city should almost be like a church in a sense. If you're on the city council, if you're talking to help the city and all that, you should be in the smallest house in the city. You should be putting all your excess money into helping the city's various functions. And I get that that's not how the country's run, just like I said. In a dream world, y'all, if you nominated good politicians that cared about the people around them, even if they don't agree with them, you still got to care about the people around you. And I try my best to do that, y'all. I rage and rant on here a lot, but understand, part of that rage and ranting comes from the fact that I am constantly at work, and I have not known a day off or a day's rest now in over 4 years. If I'm not at work, I'm working on a side project. If I'm not working on a side project, I'm working on an art project. Ideally, something radical that might change a few minds or get somebody noticing something else. Or I'm working on an art project to sell so I can have money, so I can continue to exist in this capitalist hell. I haven't... There's a trail near here that hopefully, if Forget-Me-Not actually comes down to visit when she says she is. Not judging her, I get it. She lives on the other side of town. Well, she lives about a county over, and she works at the hellscape that is Walmart, not to dox too much of her shit. I feel like I can say that because there's like 4 Walmarts in every town now. But she works at one of them. And working for an evil corporation. Oh, that's a sweet civilian there. And that's why Crabapple Landscapes. They're a good landscape organization. That's a real working lot, that is. But... like I was saying before, I got distracted by an actual good person, not wanting to just come very close to sideswiping me. If she comes down, the original plan and the hopeful plan is I load up my pack, the little pack that I carry, get us a few sandwiches or something dried meat, and a few drinks, and we'll take you on a live stream of Pine Mountain. Assuming it's still there, and assuming it's still available to go on. Because last I checked, that trail was a dying trail. They were getting ready to close it down so the Hilton Marriott could build more Hilton Marriotts. Which, if that happens, and I'm sure it'll probably happen if the capitalists get their way, it'll be a tragedy, because much like this wood, that wood up behind the Hilton is over 100 years old. I know that because back when my family was alive in here, this is the one activity we would do that I enjoyed doing. Not camping, but hiking, because my mother was scared to death of being in nature for too long at a time. She would go nuts if she knew what I did with my life, but yeah, I sort of embrace the chaos of nature. And I just hope that if I do die out here in nature, I vanish into the trees, you know? Maybe in 100 years, some scientist, assuming they're still around, finds my bones and realizes, oh, this was a natural explorer. That kind of person, you know? I don't want to be put in a box and put in the dirt and filed away like some old tax record. I want to be put back to the land. Or be put into a haunted forest. That would be fun. That there is a project that's finally approved in America. At long fucking last, we have the freedom to do human composting. Meaning that if you're like me, and you don't want to just be filed away to rot in a box stuffed full of chemicals that are going to poison the earth if you leak, then this is a more natural solution. They take your remains after your passing, they put you in a box, and they leave you in that wooden cardboard box full of moss and such for about a month. After all the liquids and goops are done doing their thing, they then take and toss the box, removing your bones and such, and if they're, bones, they shatter them up into dust to scatter across it. Typically after this, they'll bind them all into one bundle in the middle. But the goal is basically to give you a proper burial, but when it's all done, your loved ones get basically 5 or 6 bags of mulch that they can use to grow a tree, grow a garden, whatever. Now again, from the freakier side of it, I would highly suggest not growing food out of your deceased loved one. Ecologically, I can't really you shouldn't do that because of this. So, go wild, but if you decide to do it, please write about it because I want to know what happens. Technically, Kuru is a risk, but not really in that situation. Because, a testament of times gone. This is a root. This is an exposed root that was a part of a tree that runs underground and could have been brushed away, but it probably ties into that barren over there. Like I said, the wild places are beautiful, y'all, and we're losing them. Well, losing them sounds like we're not giving them up. We're selling them, and we're not even reaping the benefits. Our corporate overlords are reaping the benefits. So I can tell you right now, they haven't given us a sidewalk. They haven't given us anything really. At long last, after months and months of them sculpting the land into this, I can now walk here. And once I get to the end of this little bridge, I'll be able to walk into that red clay there, as opposed to the little bit of road they took away there, if you notice. And for the record, I'm not saying at the people here. These people are just doing their job as they're told to do it, as they're ordered to so they can feed their family. But I'm saying their job seems to be poisoning the very land around us. And I am hopefully wrong, and hopefully it'll look beautiful when it's done. But for now, I'd call this an eyesore, y'all. On a personal level, I'd definitely call this an eyesore. And for those of us who have to hike out in it on the regular, it's definitely a head sore. Because this used to be thicker woods than you see on the back end of that. Old growth trees that had grown in with growth. Root structures on root structures that would literally suspend above the ground sometimes, but still be solid enough to walk on. A true garden of earthly delights. And now we have this. Isn't this just as good as a thicket or a nice glen? Surely you like this lovely dirt more than you'd like wildflowers, right? More than you'd like prairie plains of sorts. Because again, they cut this back. Hard cut it back. This used to fall down to where that bottom is over there. They've been ripping up dirt from the backside to stack this full. And like I said, from what I've heard from the through the grapevine, so to speak, they're basically going to turn it into high-rise apartments. My problem is I keep hearing the word luxury get thrown around. Here's the thing, folks. If it's luxury, it's not for you. If it's luxury, it's for their... Oh, I'm sure that's safe. If there's a fire, I am positive the fire department can access that. No worries, folks. But yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. I've also heard they're moving an Asian food market here. And y'all, that would be fucking awesome. I would love some change up between just, Ingles or Walmart or other box store of American groceries. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with good old-fashioned homespun food. But it's like, y'all, have you ever had dragon fruit? Like, really had dragon fruit? It's fucking delicious. Try something new every day if you get the chance. Now, you're not always going to get the chance because if you're like me, you poor as shit. But if you get the chance, give yourself a new experience where you can. Because life is short and fleeting. But all things tie together and nothing ever really goes away. Unlike us, nature doesn't waste anything. Oh, as a financial bro tip. Right now, a bunch of people be littering their beer cans and their Sprite cans and their Coke cans and their Red Bull cans. And I've even seen a couple Monster cans, which makes me sad. I'm like, oh shit, you didn't fall out of my pack, did you? That's my primary energy drink of source. But if you find these aluminum cans, I would not take them into scrap yet. But do be gathering. Because understand, with Trump's only go-to defense to getting called a pedophile being, okay, well, I'm going to deport more migrants. That'll get your attention. And when everyone's like, yeah, that's evil. We want to lynch you for that. Then he immediately switches to, oh, well, in that case, tariffs are like his one go-to. That's the only thing he's got in his repertoire. Let's let you see me, because I don't think that's a jacket up ahead in the road. And I don't want y'all to have to see the gore that I unfortunately have to see every day. When you love nature like I do, it's a bit demoralizing, knowing that not only is a dear friend dead now, but likely, instead of feeding the nature like they're supposed to, that process will be delayed. Oh, and it's a baby too. It's a youth one. And it's a fresh kill. Poor critter. Everything gets a return, little buddy. They can't hurt you anymore. Like I said, y'all, we're killing our mother. And I really beg of y'all to stop. Whether you're religious, I'm being so real with y'all right now. No matter where you are, no matter who you are, make a tiny change. Do literally anything. If you gotta look at me as a Lorax to go after to say it, I don't care. Make fun of me. Make me a fucking meme. I don't care. But plant a fucking tree today. Plant something wild that used to grow near you today. Not tomorrow. Not later. Do it today. Because we're running out of tomorrows, y'all. And the day will come. Probably within my lifetime. It feels like, though people have been saying that since lifetimes began. There'll probably be a day within my lifetime that we just get the, oh, we're going to die now, alarm. And for the record, the U.S. does have one. In the case of nuclear catastrophe, there is a program that was set up during the first Cold War that will play, and you will hear the military band of that time play the Star-Spangled Banner. And as if we weren't in hell enough, I believe you will hear Ronald Reagan sign off. Please don't make me hear that, IRL. I've already heard it if it happens. Please don't make me hear that, IRL. I do not want Trump to sign off the American people. Honestly. We can change it, y'all. But if someone like you doesn't care an awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's just not. And imagine if what you wasted on a pontoon boat you put into your place around you. That's just me, y'all. I said, it's been 1 week since the city dug, and there's still an open hole here, cuz. Why? Because the city don't fucking care. But we're not allowed to do anything with it because none of us are engineer trained. Hell, I've been making this same walk for years and years. With periodic breaks. This is the first time in a while that I've done it. But yeah, it's first time in a while. I've been doing it for a few months though. And it's never really safe. But there's ways to make it safer. One way is if the city starts a project, maybe finish the project. But again, I get it, everybody's working, and quite honestly, if it's over 100 degrees, which is about 94 degrees in the south, you really ought not to have to work out in it. But then again, we really ought to employ more for the city. That way y'all could work in periodic 10-minute intervals. 10 to 20-minute intervals. Because the thing about heat exhaustion, y'all, is just this. If you start to succumb to heat poisoning or heat exhaustion, what you're going to notice is, depending on your age, if you're very young or very old, you'll notice it first, and you might actually be saved by the fact that you take a beat to stop. If you're like my age, or you're stubborn, you'll push through it, and as you push through, the thing about heat exhaustion, cold, you can come in increments. I can lose my jacket, put another one on, I can run, I can make my body produce more heat. Unless I sit down in an air-conditioned environment, or I sit down in a cooler environment than my body temperature is, I cannot make my body cooler, nor can you. It is a bug of our bodies that evolutionarily, I guess, we never had to cross this path. Because before fossil fuels and, you know, mass extinction of actual living environments, like the one you see before you here, we didn't have these problems. So before, yeah, sweat like a hoe, but you would, I believe the method here, or the saying here in the South is sweating like a hoe in church, but yeah, you'll sweat, but the air would cool you. Nowadays, due to the fact that every plant that grows is non-native, and every grassland is just grass now. I mean, hell, imagine working there. That looks like where their break area for lunch is at. It's a picnic table in the middle of a sunny area with a gray wall behind you to draw all the heat in. I bet you the CEO eats at his desk. Bet you he eats fine food at his desk too. Anyone want to take that bet? Hell, that guy might watch the stream. If you'd like to prove me wrong, rich fucks, feel free to prove me wrong and start improving the places around you. My problem is we've got a ton of Elon Musks and Nepo babies, but we don't have a single Tony Stark. Not a single Bruce Wayne or Green Lantern or, you know, hero amongst them. And for the record, I'm not saying you'd have to suit up and fight crime in the night. You could do it with simple public works and projects. But, you know, Zuckerberg's building him an island to do fucking death games on. And Musk is talking, not only Sieg Heiling, but trying to get the left. And we live in such a dystopian shithole that some of the left is talking about letting him into the group. I don't know why I'd be surprised. We often let war criminals speak for us too, so... Like I said, y'all, be the change around you. And if nothing else, keep talking about the problems, y'all. It's cheap. If I'm brave enough to do it, why ain't you? Ain't nobody been that mean other than with their words. Because most of the right wing are inevitably cowards, and they don't attack unless they 10 deep. And trust, fam, if they're 10 deep, you get to fight like your life depends on it, because it does. Like the free AMA classes or free mixed martial arts classes on YouTube guy says, your personal space is a 3-foot bubble away from your body. If somebody approaches you aggressively, they have already begun the attack. Don't be caught hanging out. Now, that being said, don't put your fist out and punch them. But yeah, shoving people is perfectly socially acceptable and needs to be brought back if they're in your personal space. Because personal space is also a thing that is very important for us as a species. I don't know, y'all. I go off on tangents. It's been a while, and at that red light is typically where we cut at for the day. And I try to pick up there in the afternoon. This afternoon, since we're going to be touring that park that's behind there, I'm probably going to pick up on the garden trail at the park, and I might even take you a little bit further in where the bridge is so you can see where we're going to be walking a bit today. But yeah, y'all, it's been about an hour, 37 minutes. If you've watched this from the future stream, I very much appreciate it. Please drop a like and a sub. Comment any suggestions. Call me a dipshit. I don't care. Say something. I would very much appreciate an audience that communicates, because I would like to build us a social space and ideally network with other social spaces to make a big change. But above all else, stay safe. In the summer heat, stay hydrated. Work together. Remember, American exceptionalism is bullshit. No one does anything alone. We all work together, and you help out a cause. Why not pitch in and help out a cause intentionally rather than helping the bad guys unintentionally? All those further things. And I know, 1 second, I'm not going to deprive you all that shot. One shot. Down the tracks. Y'all be good. Be safe. Community first. Wild grasses will always be preferable because nature also likes them more. And yeah, just be good, folks. It's a wild world out there. Choose kindness today. I'm gonna poke you in the eye now and wait for YouTube to respond.